What's up, guys? So, I was curious. I had one of my moments in which I was just looking at forums that I'm aware of and just seeing what it is that people are talking about. And then I remembered of good old MGTOW.com, which has been a page that I've only been to maybe 3 times in my life, but they had interesting topics that I just so happened to have gone over in the channel before. And then recently, there was a guy who started a topic called When Family is About Sharing Misery. And I thought it was interesting because I have a video. It's like old. I filmed it like 2.5 years ago. And it's about me living without my family. And on occasion, the other times that I have streamed and referenced my family, I have sort of mentioned the stuff that this guy is saying. And another topic in which I talked about my family was when I described about why I don't go for a degree, like why I didn't go to school and stuff like that. So I have linked in the description what I am looking at. So if you guys want to follow along with me, feel free. I encourage you to because it's a pretty good read. I sort of skimmed through it before streaming and then I decided that I'm just going to read like maybe the first 3 paragraphs and then I'm going to like give my input. So this guy, his name is the Man in the Mountain. And he goes, let's not talk about how bad it is to be raised by a single mother and having to put out or drop out of school to support her. Let's not talk about how my own father did a great job of turning every children that he had against each other. But no, family is hell, and sadly, family is not an enterprise that you can put money or trust in. Wherever there is a woman, there is a problem, and that problem will always cost you years of your life. Paying into a black hole, I am trying now to sever ties with most of my family and work with my uncle on a couple of business ventures and projects. We have found a position by almost everyone. We thought of them as a safe bet, but to keep around, it's almost amazing that when you try to make something out of nothing, everyone comes to try, and I guess he means crap on your parade. Women, children, and family are all dream killers. So immediately, something that I can talk about there is that I understand why he says that family is hell because for me, my family has never actually personally directly been damaging to me except my father, and not even my father has not been present in my life, but the stuff that he did not do for me is what has hurt me the most. But fortunately, I had very good support from mom, and mom never tried to talk me out of spending time with my dad. She never tried to get me to hate him in any way. She encouraged me, if I felt like it, to seek out for him. But I personally had my own pride and I said, why does the child chase a perfectly healthy parent? To me, that sounds like someone who simply does not care. Why would I go to someone who simply does not care about me? So when it comes to saying that family is not a business that you can put money into, it's it's interesting because what I envision family as is when you are young, of course, you are the one who's being taken care of and protected by family members. And hopefully, most of your family members have made decisions that were wise and put them in a situation to where they are at least financially stable and things like that. And that is something that you, as the new generation, can expect to inherit. But it seems like families these days have very selfish uh, mindsets to where they just want to have everything for themselves. Like, say, in my family, usually the eldest son wants to take over everything. Even if he has multiple siblings, they feel entitled to everything that their parents owned: property, businesses, say homes, cars, everything like that. And I'm like, no, you have to understand that that stuff needs to get shared. And the only way to go about you becoming the sole proprietor of all this stuff is that your parents need to voluntarily decide that's how they're going to write their will. So usually what ends up happening is when someone passes away, that's when stuff gets dirty, because some people are not happy with what they read on the will, or what the will, has in store. And I'm like, well, that's what the person that passed on decided. You must respect their wishes. So when I think about it from that point of view, from the business point of view, I think it's pretty disgusting that you are actually more concerned about that above anything. It's like you do not trust that you independently can become a person who is, let's say, successful, like the person who is older than you, your elder people did. It will take you longer. It's going to cost you more. You may not enjoy it in, what can I say, your younger years, but at least it's something that you accomplished on your own. And I feel like people who inherit things, they do not really appreciate the effort that goes into building something. And then maybe that's what ends up making them be like cold people. But anyways, I'm starting to ramble now. But but then this guy mentioned the fact that he dropped out of school to support her mom, or his mom, sorry. That got me thinking, because I wonder why some folks simply drop out of school. And I'm thinking, some sometimes I hear that the person who dropped out of school did so because they were trying to support their family. And when I'm a child, I don't understand what it means for someone to say support the family. But now that I'm older, I get it. But is it really that much of a difference when you have your kid making money, bringing money to the household? You're the mother, you're also an adult, supposed to be bringing money to the household as well. So, wouldn't it be better for your child to at least finish high school so they can get better jobs? Especially if your family is not business oriented, like if your family does not have an empire of their own. I would think that if you finish school, you are opening more opportunities for you to land better jobs. Like, you won't get the best stuff out there with just a high school diploma, but at least you finished that school level. And I think it looks better on a resume than just declaring that you have absolutely zero education, assuming that that's the way that he goes about getting a job. And I know that some places can hire you even if you don't have a high school diploma, but let's face it, I think that looks better than having absolutely no education. And then this guy says that when someone has a dream and they are trying to materialize it, there's people who dream, who kill their dreams. I cannot speak from personal experience because my mom has been the kind who, even something stupid that I say, she is always rooting for me. And I'm like, Mom, I'm just kidding, right? And she's like, well, you don't have to be just kidding about it. If it's something that you want, I would love to help you to be able to fulfill what it is that you pursue. But usually it's something that I just think in an impulse, and I really don't care to make it a real thing. But she knows what it's like to have people like this, people who kill dreams. Everyone doubted her when she left her parents' house. Oh, you're leaving your parents' house so you go to college? Pfft, you're not even going to finish. Or after she did finish school, they were like, oh, well, I guess you did finish school, but you're going to become a teacher? You're not going to last very long in that job. Kids are just little bastards, like they were trying to discourage her or not believe in her personal capacity at her job, what she went to school to become, which was a teacher. And pretty much any time that she had a dream about, say, traveling, going out, meeting someone, it's like the family always had something to say about it. Anyone who she started dating, the family had something to say about it. They never even knew the person, but they already had an opinion. They claimed to know the history of the person. They just pulled out information from thin air. It was just impressive. And to me, when I hear about those stories and the little bit that I was able to witness as I grew up, it's like those people are toxic people. Like when you dedicate your time to try to talk someone out of their dreams or what it is that they believe in or what it is that brings them joy and excites them, like what kind of person are you? What is happening to you? What's going on in your life or not going on in your life to where you feel like you gotta try to put other people down? How do you get to that point in your life where you're so insecure and miserable with your life that you do that stuff? Like in my personal experience, I actually feel pretty miserable most of the time, but I don't try to, the little bit of energy that I have left after work, I don't try to go out there and make other people feel like shit. Like, even if it's someone who is difficult to deal with, I'm always wishing them the best. Even if it's someone who has something that I yearn and I just don't have it yet, I'm always sending them blessings. I'm always like, they're very fortunate. I hope everything goes well. I'm so happy for them. Like just send positive energy. But some folks in my family just do the complete opposite. And it's difficult for me to admit it because I'm talking about my own folks. And it's not nice to, throw shade, but I'm just speaking the truth. And here we have this guy on the internet who I can relate to some stuff that he says. So clearly it's a problem that's more popular than not. And then at some point, he mentioned something about leaving them, which I think it's cool. If your family is toxic, I think you should leave them. But another thing he said was most of the successful men in the last century were like us, the men that frequent this site. We are rejects, we are the outcasts, we don't marry or give women meaning, we give them nothing, we work on improving ourselves and our legacy. Most of the really successful ones were introverts and spend most of their lives in solitary. And that makes a lot of sense because if you think about it, when you're single, you're not spending as much and you have more time to yourself to be working on your personal independent projects. You don't have anyone that's sapping your energy by telling you negative things or just wasting your time. Have you ever met someone who you are completely unoccupied? You don't have anything going on in your day. No plans. You are seemingly sedentary. The moment that you say, I'm gonna go out and do something, whoever it is that's with you, they go, oh, actually, I need you for something. Actually, there is a story that I need to tell you. And I've been meaning to tell you something, but I couldn't think of it, but I just remember it now. And well, since you're going to go out, can you go and get me this and this and that? Or where are you going? Oh, I want to go too. Like you had zero interest in this person when they were doing nothing. And the moment that they are getting ready to do something that doesn't involve you, you are auto inviting in yourself into like this person's plans. Why? Why do you do that? You were not giving any attention to this person, but suddenly, them making plans or coming up with plans, it suddenly stimulates your desire to get attention from this person. I think that's weird, and I see that a lot. I see this happening so much. But anyways, but yeah, when you when it comes to people who become successful and they were introverts, again, you have a lot of time to yourself, with yourself, and you are actually saving in resources because you're only taking care of yourself. You only have to maintain yourself. You're not having to invest in anyone else. Um, because of a woman, your friends can betray you. Also, because of a woman, your own family will betray you. When we speak about going your own way, we mean it, brothers. Go your own effing way alone. Through it all, you have to or can. Women are society's useful parasite. By pumping out kids, they will ramp up consumption because they consume so much. You have to put out your productivity out there, and it all benefits society. Not one part benefits the man in this equation. Most men die in their 50s and 60s because the system and women exploited them for the useful idiots they proved themselves to be. I don't feel bad for anybody. Everybody that I see and meet got exactly what they wanted. No one gets a free ride in the ferry. And when it comes to some people's, how can I describe it? Contempt towards women. I mean, I get it because, hello, I've lived my entire life as a woman, and I know what kind of behaviors and thoughts prove to be annoying for the opposite side of the species. And for me personally, I was raised in a way to where I learned to not put so much value on material goods. Honestly, these days I just like to spoil myself by collecting stuff like leggings, jackets, and my occasional candy splurges that I go and fast food splurges that I go and I share with you guys what it is that I'm trying. But in the grand scheme of things, I can let go of that stuff. Back in late 2014 through mid 2015, I spent that entire time with barely any internet access. It kind of sucked because as time went by, I was falling behind on information that I consider important, such as what's going on in the world, what the news are, what's going on in the economy, what prices are going up, which companies are hiring, or what everyone is doing pretty much. The useful aspect of becoming informed through the internet as your medium. But when I thought about it, I didn't really miss it. It's not like I was shaking and desperate and frustrated that I did not have internet access. It was like that was the thing that I spent a lot of time in, that the thing that I did the most, like be on the internet, watch videos, chat with people, and whatnot. I considered it an important time in my life, but then my computer broke and I moved out, and I also did not install internet here at home until I got my phone. That's when I started having internet connection. But when I thought about it, I'm like, you know what? The internet can be addictive, but it's not something essential in my life. And it is essential in my life when I am at my job, because thanks to it, when the weather goes bad, I know about delays. And if I have plans, I can look ahead at what's happening. I can be like, okay, the weather is going to be like this and that, or traffic is going to be really bad because of a construction on a side of town that I don't frequent, but I need to be there at a certain time. That doesn't catch me off guard. Things like that, just the useful information. But there are some folks out there who are just too addicted to the internet. And when people would hear that I did not have internet, they would offer for me to borrow theirs. Like, hey, do you want to use my computer? Do you want to use my phone? Do you want to, stuff like that? And I'm like, I'm all right. It's okay. There was a world before there was internet. So, when it comes to that guy, feeling that contempt, This is coming from a person, I guess, who simply has not had very positive experiences. And if I knew this person in person, I would tell them, you know what? You can have very shitty beginnings, but it does get better. Because in my personal experience, when I was younger, most people that I knew personally were not impressive. They were my age group. We were all immature. We were in school. We were all fooling around, clowning around. We didn't have our values and priorities straight. We didn't have to. We had homes to go to, parents to go to who fed us. We didn't have responsibilities. When you become an adult and you start acquiring responsibilities, that's when stuff starts getting real and you realize that you cannot go your entire life being a complete douchebag. So when I said that to myself, like, let me wait until my adulthood and see what it's like, I'm so glad that I did not really hold grudges about what was happening to me during my teenage years, because I knew that there was a better side to life waiting for me. And when it comes to the social sector, I'm just glad that it's nothing like in school. When you are having a conversation with adults, stuff usually goes well, unless this is a person who simply, we all have those people out there who are just too stuck in their ways to be able to acknowledge anything else. Then we also have the people who are extremely ignorant and they just do not, you cannot sustain a very intellectually rich conversation with these people because they're just not aware. And some people deliberately prefer to be ignorant about things than being aware of what's happening and you possibly being stressed about it, or say the negativity that is out there. Some people may be too sensitive to it and they just don't want to absorb it. I don't like to run away from the truth. So I like to read everything that's going on, even if it's bad, even if it's terrible. And in the same manner, there's good stuff going on out there. So I'm not sure what this person's age is. I'm not really going to stalk their profile. Maybe it says it, but it sounds like this is a person who's definitely older now. But I hope that everything goes well for this person. Like, clearly they want to be stable financially and stuff like that. And don't be afraid to leave your family behind, whether temporarily or long term, to pursue what it is that is going to fulfill you. Ideally, we would all have supportive, functional families, but not everyone does. And there are some folks here who say it depends on your family. I have a great family, you guys. And so, it is possible to have a good family out there, but if you happen to only know the worst aspects of a family, you're not going to be very thrilled about it. And, that's okay. The members in your family are human, and because they are human, they are susceptible to flaws and messed up things, and there are families out there that simply are better off. So I guess you can be the individual who, in your family, when you start your own family, you do the things contrary to the way your family does it so that you can finally break that chain that continues that conduct in your family. So make sure that your lineage, your offspring, do not value or behave in the manner that your family does, that makes you unhappy and upset. And also make sure that you teach your children why the ways of your family affected you, how it affected you, and why it is wrong. Um, but I really think that life can be better for everybody if only we all display patience, because we all tend to make decisions without thinking. We don't look ahead. And I think that if we take the time to think about why we're doing things, things will be better. Like, don't have kids if you don't know the person well and if you're not financially set. Um, and especially if you don't have medical coverage, because let me tell you, having a child can be difficult. So things like that. That's the stuff that people aren't thinking about. You think about your immediate gratification, and then when the consequences arrive, that's when you start worrying about it. Just like I was ranting about yesterday. You know, avoid disaster from happening. It's easier than the cleanup. So, anyways, that pretty much concludes the thing that the guy posted and some of my thoughts. A lot of it is me just being repetitive. I was just excited that I saw someone expressing themselves on it, kind of like I do. So another user says, "Family suck. I've ghosted my family and relatives over the last year, and I'm all the better for it. No drama, soap operas, but plenty of peace of mind and happiness. If I need help, I'll bloodily pay for it. No strings attached, no trips, no manipulation. I should have done it decades ago." So this is clearly a case of another individual who is unhappy. But it does suck to have a family who is manipulative, because let me tell you, my family members, they tried that many, many times. My own grandmother tried to manipulate me into drinking when I did not want to, and I was 18 years old, and I simply told her no. So, that's crazy. Let's see, what else are people saying? Just keep looking forward. Sadly, I think everything that was easier said about family was a dream. Sure seems that way. It's so strange. I mean, I don't understand it. Through my life, I have helped so many random people, even in the classroom scene. Why? Because I happen to understand the game here. If people become better, everyone benefits. But what I see often is, in fact, exactly the blade you're talking about. It makes no sense. But then you have the strengths and perspectives. Da 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 da. All right. Yeah. So I might just desert the page, and I'm going to catch up with what you guys are saying. Yo, MGTOW here. Nothing against chicks. I love them, their voices and curves. Just can't trust getting around people having all these rigged laws blatantly designed against males. Yeah, because when you think about it, the institution of marriage itself, if you ask me in my most humble opinion, possibly ignorant, marriage is a very good thing for women. Like, don't even get me started on what happens if the relationship happens to be over. It's like they make it so easy for the woman to not have to struggle. If a woman struggles in this life, especially in this country, let me say this country, it's because she is bad and irresponsible. You have to be really bad with your finances. You have to have really shitty values, and you are very dependent on others serving you, as opposed to you independently taking care of your own businesses and matters as an adult. Um, and once again, how many, like, in your community, how many things out there are not designed to help women? Like, say, Planned Parenthood. When I think about it, that is something that seems to be more female oriented than anything. And when it comes to laws, it's always how will this affect the women. When it comes to even natural disasters, when it snows, it seems like it makes it tougher on the women, because the roads that get plowed first tend to be the ones that are like heavily transited, like the highways and the main streets. But the roads that are near schools and the homes and all that, it definitely is targeted to make women's lives more difficult. And I'm like, no. The reason those roads stay blocked is because those roads are not important. Residential areas are not hospitals, they are not airports, they are not gas stations, they are not, basically, things that really keep the economy rolling, things that keep society rolling. So if you're so desperate about your residents being cleared up, how about if you purchase your own machinery to do it? Or better yet, grab a shovel and start clearing a path for you. Oh, it's difficult, isn't it? So it's just, I don't like to hear complaints when the person has not attempted to resolve the problem, you know? So the only time I get here and I complain about something is because I took the steps already to resolve the problem. Anytime I tell a story about an annoyance, I'm always like, but in the end, I made sure that I told the person why that was wrong. Or I made sure that I spoke to, I don't know, a manager about why it was wrong. So, but when you just sit there and just complain and you expect for people to just open their hearts to serve you, it's, to me, it's a sign of weakness. It's a sign that you do not trust that you have the tools and knowledge to address things yourself. And instead, you like to paint yourself as a victim when there is no victimhood to you. You know, what are you preparing yourself for the weather? Or did you underestimate the fact that, say, if it snows really bad and your car cannot get out of the driveway, that's why you were supposed to do your shopping before. Get all of your essentials. What did you do? Did you just anticipate that it wouldn't be so bad? You know, things like that. Um, I just like to think that people have their priorities straight. That's all I'm saying. Let's see. What else is here? Regards from Brazil, sister. Uh, you know, hanging around women can be actually dangerous in West these days. And also, do you guys feel like in this day and age, people just get offended so easily? Like, I wonder, in the past, it doesn't even have to be that long ago. Let's say 10 years ago. What did people actually get offended by? Now I feel like anything has the potential of triggering someone really badly. You know, is that really progressing as a society? Is that really what progress looks like? Because I think it looks like regression. And also, I know I am an egocentric piece of crap that could not take care of anybody at all. Why screw off a girl and build a dysfunctional family as my father did? I have some of his genes after all. Well, I am glad that you are being responsible and not, if you're admitting that you do not have good parenting skills. And on that note, I am one of those people who likes to jump on the bandwagon of there's no true guidebook out there for parenting. Your circumstances are always going to be exclusive to you. You may have a child with a specific personality, certain conditions, or even physical limitations, anything out there that you may not foresee. And not everyone is going to be, what is it, efficient at dealing with those challenges. I like to talk about how I wanted to be a teacher. My mother is a teacher. My mother is great with children, but that does not mean that I am inherently good with children. As a matter of fact, I don't know how to talk to children. I don't know how to address them. I don't know much about them. I was a kid myself, but me being an adult and trying to be involved in the life of a child, to me is just awkward. So imagine me with that perception starting to have kids. And I'm definitely not prepared. I am not financially prepared. I'm not emotionally prepared. I'm just not there. So why would I try to mess that up for myself? Why complicate my life bringing a child just because people comment that based on my personality and organization skills and whatever, that I am going to be good as a parent? No, you don't know me outside of work. You don't know me outside of a social setting. You don't know what my mental and emotional manifestation is when I'm at home, for example. So you cannot just assume that the stuff that I excel at, just excellence is a transferable skill. No, I'm not going to be excellent at everything. So yeah, I just think people just need to be careful. Just think about it. Think about stuff. Hello there, beautiful. Hello, hello, Garuda and Holga. Almost all laws and institutions in the West are designed to help women over men. We are victims of our own ignorance and bad decisions. I agree. Uh, Obrigado. You will have plenty of practice talking to children after we get married. Damn, you savage. Oh, I like that. He's got spirit. Um, but yeah, 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 I don't know what to think. When it comes to family, it doesn't help that I have been very isolated from my own family. And now that I think about it, I only met one very, very young family member. And this is when he was born in 2003. And I knew him until 2005. So when he was two, I moved away, and now he is what, 15, 16 years old? I don't know about him. So I missed out on his growth. It's not like I have it's not like I have family that helped me train for my future. Like, we usually all have some kind of experience babysitting. If you're an older cousin, an older sibling, at some point you have babysat before. Well, I was the youngest family member until that kid was born. So, yeah. Yeah, no. No. And then there was, ooh, I just remembered. I have another cousin. She was born in 2007. And I met her in 2011ish or 2013. It was one of those years. But of course, I did not hang out for a long time. So it's not like I know what it's like to be raising her. See what I mean? So in this age of being isolated, it's pretty frightening. We are, first of all, I think women are losing their knowledge on how to give birth. Like, it seems like we don't understand our own damn bodies. And then when it comes to the nucleus aspect of the family, that shit is gone. Most people are only thinking about, when I turn 18, I'm leaving. I'm going away. Some people are moving out of the fucking country. I mean, like, it's become so easy to establish your life and the flow of your life very far away. We rely on technology. There are so many ways of making money now. It's like, it's weird. We're not rooting ourselves. It's like our ancestors used to settle in a place, and that place and that's where they would sort of branch off. Nowadays, it's like the young generation, most people who are in this town, they come from another state and they come to study. And there's also folks who are foreign exchange. It's like they come from Italy or from Denmark or something, and they're here for like a few semesters. They may stay or they may leave. See what I mean? So those folks, if they decide to stay, their family is way across the pond. They're way across the ocean. So what kind of connection are they having? They must come from a background in which they were close to their family. Because if they have an upbringing like mine, where I was pretty isolated from my family, then that person will never know what their family traditions were like. And then they come here and they assimilate. So, see what I mean? It's like we don't seem to have anything that's ours anymore. It seems to be we share a piece of land for a little bit, but we're thinking about where life is going to take us next. And we're not thinking about really cultivating relationships, cultivating friendships. It's like you make a friend, Let's say that you meet someone at your job. You work together for about a year and a half. They get an opportunity to work somewhere else. They leave. Nothing wrong with that. But sometimes this job opportunity takes them to another state. So it's like you will lose touch with this person. Unless a person really wants to stay in touch with you, like really badly, that is probably the last time that you will see them again. Unless something goes wrong and they're like knocking on the door, hey, I gotta come back. Is my position still available? So, I think it's interesting. It's interesting but crazy and worrying, but oh well. All right, guys, I am going to bail. I am going to try to eat because for some reason I woke up and I have not been feeling well. I have not been having a very good day off. And then my stomach decided that it's going to malfunction like it always does. So I'm going to try to eat something. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in and for accompanying me like always. There does seem to be a disconnect between even close family members. I hear so many people talk about how they are not close with their parents or siblings. Yeah, I have the blessing of being close with my mom. I cannot imagine being distant from my mom. But even she can be distant sometimes because she meets people, she starts hanging out with them, and it's cool, nothing wrong with that. I had a time in which I would go many, 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 many days in a row and just be out. It's like I would leave my job and keep just hanging out with folks. And then mom was like, you know, do I need to look for a new place to live? And I'm like, Mom, you know that I arrive at nighttime, or I do come back. It's not like I'm trying to disappear or anything. It's just that I'm excited. I'm meeting new people. I want to be on the grind. But anyways, yeah, I feel kind of sad, that most relationships and friendships that we have these days, they don't seem to be very meaningful or fulfilling, or they have to be distant. It's like, yeah, you can have many good friends, but they may be in another in another state, in another country. So there's only so much cultivating that you can do to your friendship if it's established on distance. We humans are not designed to be apart from one another. We are social creatures. So the most effective way to cultivate bonds is to be present with your people. So we can try all that we want to use the internet, use texting, use calling on the phone, what is it, video calling. We can try that all that we want to try to keep our bond strong, but nothing will ever compare to being there, present in the lives of those who you claim to care about and love. But anyways, that can be a topic for another day. All right, guys, I'll let you know how life treats me. See you soon.